Welcome to the process. It is Tuesday, May 18th, and after one day of no basketball, we are back for a 2-game play-in, and I'm really excited. One, because we only have 4 teams to break down, and we're really only going to have, what's the biggest slate we're going to have is probably, 4 games in the playoffs? So those are all pretty manageable. And 2, we don't have to worry about nonsense. We can project reasonable minutes to the best players on a team, and we don't have to jump through all of the weird hoops that we've had over the past month. So this is exciting. As you get in the door, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. I'm feeling rusty not doing a show yesterday. Kind of weird. It takes me out of my rhythm. You do this so frequently, the words just don't come to the tip of the tongue as fast as they normally do. It's great to see everybody here. Even with the playoffs, we still got a little bit of a crew popping up, so it's good stuff there. Celtics Wizards, man, I'm excited to watch this one tonight. Desperately cheering for Boston, so that should be fun. I'll have to break out the Larry Bird t-shirt for this one. It's going to be good, though. 2 games. We'll be able to walk through this pretty easily. No process show on Thursday or Friday. We're not doing it for the single game. We are going to have a strategy show, though, in some abbreviated fashion. Contenders will exist the entire time. That's not going anywhere. But can't do the process show for just a 1-gamer. But it'll exist for any of the main playoff slates as well until we don't have anything left to talk about, I guess. It's gonna be fun. I'm pumped for it. I hope you guys are as well. Oh, it feels nice to start my day like this. Yesterday was weird. I slept in for a bit and just didn't have anything to do. I mean, I had stuff to do around my house, but not in the DFS space, which was really weird after so long. Did the UFC show Saturday, still had NBA Sunday, so I was in the rhythm, but yesterday was just a full-on day off, which was nice. So we're there. We're here now. It's time to break down some playoff stuff, so you guys know what to do. I've got my coffee. I hope you have yours. If you don't have a coffee, water, tea, if you're going a different direction, ciggies, joints, all that good stuff. Cheers, everybody. Rise and grind. It's good to see everybody here. Let's break down this 2-gamer. Let's do it. Cheers. And shout out to Monkey Knife Fight for being the presenting sponsor of this show. Use the promo code Awesemo. Get yourself a 100% instant match deposit bonus of up to $100. That means if you deposit $100, they will match it with $100. That's a free $100. Grind it out. Build your bankroll. It's the smartest thing you can do. Take free money every opportunity that you get it. Go check out Monkey Knife Fight. Alrighty, well, we're diving in first and foremost. First team up, and that would be the Boston Celtics. Now, I have stripped everything. Every minute that I had projected previous to today is out of here. All previous rates are out of here. We are starting everything from scratch because the playoffs are a different breed. Now, I don't want to say surprised, but I would expect Tristan Thompson to be playing more minutes than Robert Williams. So I'm going to go 26-22. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if that were 27-21, or it wouldn't shock me if Robert Williams played less. Robert Williams will be a very important swing player on a day like today, because if he plays 14 minutes, he's probably useless. If he plays 24 minutes, given his normal per minute rates, I mean, he's the best per minute fantasy player on the Celtics. Every minute that he gets makes him exceptionally more likely to be essential. So getting to Robert Williams will be a very interesting piece. Now, for the rest of these guys, I'm going to give Kemba Walker 38 minutes. I'm going to give Marcus Smart 38 minutes. And I'm going to give Jason Tatum, I want to say 38 minutes, but I feel like 40 is the more correct answer. But I'm going to go 38 for right now. So that leaves us with the rest of these guys. Now, who... Oh, I knew I forgot somebody. Evan Fournier. Fournier is the guy that I would expect to play like 2 less minutes. So I'm going to go to 36 on Fournier for right now. The rest of this should just fill itself out pretty easily because we're not going to be getting enough minutes to anybody that matters. I think that Neesmith gets 10. I think Peyton Pritchard gets 10. I think we see Grant Williams get 10 and maybe like Semi gets 12. Something like that. But the big piece here will be grabbing rates. And in general, we should see a little bit more of a concentration as well. So let's go grab Boston's rates. And we will take off Jaylen Brown, which really, really sucks. I mean, that is just super duper annoying. So we take Jaylen Brown off. I'm going to take off a couple other guys that I know won't be on there. Like Jeff Teague, for instance. And I don't really expect Tremont Waters to be out there, Parker or Fall. So Jason Tatum in 673 minutes without everybody that I've just removed is a 33.8% usage rate. Most of that is going to stand for me. Everything else can stay the same. Kemba Walker, 30.4% usage rate. That one is the biggie. Not really expecting anything else to change. Marcus Smart, 19.6% usage rate. I am going to bump him up quite a bit. All right, that looks good. Robert Williams, I'm just going to keep him at his normal rate. Evan Fournier. So this is the tricky piece. Evan Fournier has an 18.7% usage rate when those guys are off the floor. He's just not getting that usage. I'm going to give him a little bit of a bump, but nothing too crazy. And then finally, we close it out with Tristan Thompson, and I'm just going to hold him neutral as well. Now, if we look at Boston, right out of the gate, I'm really, really liking 3 guys and only 3 guys. That would be Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, and Marcus Smart. I think they all look identical relative to salary on FanDuel. You can either go cheap to Smart at 5,700. You can go mid-tier, Kemba 8,200. You can go Jason Tatum all the way up at 10K. On DraftKings, Kemba for 7,300 is the clear top option, although I don't think Jason Tatum is all that far behind. Wow, Jason Tatum is projecting very, very well for me today. But that's what happens when you face the Washington Wizards. The pace up spot is going to be pretty big here. I think Robert Williams and Evan Fournier are both in play. There's a lot of variability in their outputs, though. 5,500 for Robert Williams on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. He could have such an impact on this game. I like Boston so far today, though. That's for sure. Now we're switching games. We're going to Charlotte, and they're taking on Indiana. This one also going to be quite a bit of a track meet. By the way, for those that don't know, Hornets are 3-point underdogs in Indiana, 226 total. Wizards are 2-point underdogs in Boston, 233 total. And you know what? I am going to slow the game down a bit. So let's do that. There we go. 68 viewers, 38 likes. Even as we move into the playoffs on a Tuesday 2-gamer, we still have almost 70 people here at 6:42 a.m. Great to see you guys. All right, let's handle the Hornets. Still no Gordon Hayward. Unfortunately, should be back if they make it out of this. And then no Cody Martin today as well. So the tricky piece was going to be, what are they going to do from a starting lineup perspective? Because they were going with Biyombo for the longest time, and then they did kind of change it up a little bit. Biyombo. And then they go to Zeller for a game, and then PJ Washington once Bridges came back. I would, oh man. Do they go to Zeller in the starting lineup to match up against Domantas Sabonis? Because PJ Washington will get cooked in that scenario. I think they probably do that, and I think the main expectation would be that Zeller gets like 3 rotations and potentially a 4th, depending on how the game is going. So I'm going to give him 24 minutes, and then we're going to give PJ Washington the other 24. I think plus 8 gives him 32 total. I think we see Devontae Graham play 32 minutes. That's a lot for him. I think we see an absolute ton of Miles Bridges. I'm giving him 38 minutes right out of the gate. LaMelo Ball will be the interesting piece. I'm guessing something in the neighborhood of 34 feels best. And then I'm going to go 38 on Terry Rozier as well. After that, we need to just slowly hand out the rest of these minutes. So Jalen McDaniels, I'm thinking like 28 minutes. Which doesn't really allow for too much else. And that's fine. They don't really have that kind of rotation going right now. Just give it to Malik Monk since it doesn't matter. Now let's grab some Charlotte rates since we have to take Gordon Hayward off the floor. And this is obviously Washington and Indiana are the 2 fastest teams in the league right now. It's an interesting 2 games from a pace perspective. So let's take Hayward off. We'll take Cody Martin off, although I don't think that could possibly matter. It is Cody, right? Which one's hurt? Yeah, it's Cody. All right. So Terry Rozier has a 25% usage rate when those guys are off the floor. No real changes to the rest of his rates. LaMelo Ball, 27% usage rate. Everything else stays the same. Devontae Graham, this one's important, 21.5% usage rate. I'm going to knock that down a bit. Everything else seems the same. Cody Zeller, 19.5, so he's just the same. Jalen McDaniels, 16.5. Not a lot to like for Charlotte so far. Miles Bridges, 19% usage rate. And then finally, PJ Washington, 20.4. So we'll put it in at 20. A little bit less rebounding since he'll be at the 4 more. And now as we look at Charlotte, LaMelo Ball on FanDuel looking like the best option from Charlotte at 7,200. Although I do think there is some downside to LaMelo. Terry Rozier and Miles Bridges would be second and third. Washington and McDaniels are close. Devontae Graham not really looking all that good on FanDuel. Looks a little bit better on DraftKings at 6,100. LaMelo is the DK play for me. Terry Rozier and Miles Bridges are a close second, basically the same. And I think now we can look at Boston and Charlotte together. Bang. Yeah, so on DK, Kemba, Tatum, Smart, all better than everybody that I see on Charlotte. On FanDuel, Tatum and LaMelo are basically tied at the top. Kemba and Smart are sort of in that same tier, but Kemba probably a half step behind. So it's very Boston heavy so far. But that's two teams already, guys. We're moving through this pretty quickly. Everybody getting here late is going to get here too late. We're on to Indiana now. And we have no idea what's going on with this team, do we? Q tag on Brogdon, Sumner, Sabonis, Aaron Holiday, no Lamb. So what do we actually know here? Game time decision for Brogdon. Looking like we're not going to have Aaron Holiday. I assume we get Sumner. And I assume that we get Sabonis. So let's start here. Relatively minimal amount of rotation for Goga. And I'm assuming Sabonis plays 40 minutes. Which means that I'm going to give Goga Bitadze 8. I am going to assume that Malcolm Brogdon plays. Malcolm Brogdon has not played for a very long time, all of May. So at the very least, I expect him to be limited in some way. So I'm giving Brogdon 30 minutes for right now. Yeah, I think that's okay. We'll give 18 to McConnell. Then we need to start worrying about everybody at the 4, which would be O'Shea Brissett playing, I don't know, like 26 minutes, maybe 28 minutes. And we'll give McBuckets 20. Justin Holiday probably plays about 28 minutes. I think Karis LeVert plays 38. And then the assumptions for the rest of this probably aren't that important. I think that TJ McConnell gets a couple extra minutes. We probably see Edmund Sumner. I don't know. I don't want to give him 24, but I think it's possible. Although I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more and give Keelan Martin a little bit of time, just because I don't want Sumner popping up yet. We do have to pull new rates for Indiana. No surprises there. It's fun pulling all the new rates and seeing how everybody is, like with everybody off one last time. So we need to take off Oladipo because he was actually on the Pacers this year, which is crazy to think about. We'll take off Warren and we'll take off Turner. And then we'll take off Lamb. Karis LeVert, 28.6% usage rate. Done. Nope, 28.2 rather. I can't read. Everything else is fine. Sabonis, 24.7% usage rate. Gets the bump to the assist rate. And then what else do we have? Rebounding? Bump to rebounding as well. Everybody else should be pretty normal. Justin Holiday, can't imagine does anything different. Malcolm Brogdon, 25.4, so that all stays the same. O'Shea Brissett, 14.8. And finally, TJ McConnell, 16% usage rate. Done. Brian, happy to have you here. All right, for Indiana, Sabonis on FanDuel, 10-3, to me looks the best. He also looks pretty clearly the best on DraftKings. I think LeVert is second. I don't really like anything from Indiana, but obviously that can change if Brogdon gets ruled out. They could go to a much tighter rotation. If Brogdon can play more minutes, that would help. Brogdon being 7,300 on FanDuel, I think, is worth a flyer if he can fall into additional minutes. We just don't know what his playing time is going to be like. And then we're closing it out with the Washington Wizards, which should be as easy as it gets. No Daddy Neto is probable, so 40 minutes immediately for Russ. Beal, unfortunately, is still a little dinged up. Probably doesn't hurt that he got a day off, though. I have to assume that he can play 38 minutes. These games matter too much. And if they win here, it just saves them some additional time. Then we need to think about who starts at center for Washington, and do they cut that rotation at all? I have no idea who gets the time, but in my opinion, Robin Lopez would be the most likely guy, with Len second and Gafford third. But I'm only saying that because I just assume Scott Brooks makes the wrong decisions. I think they go with the hot hand. I don't think that it's really easy to figure out who is going to be the guy that benefits the most. I don't really want to guess. My expectation is that they only play two centers and that one of these guys ends up out of the rotation. But there's no real way for us to know that yet. So we'll get there when we get there. Now, who is going to be playing the rest of these minutes? We've got Neto at what, 28? Yeah. So that would be 10 and 28. We got to give Ish Smith minutes, unfortunately. He just gets the rest of them, huh? That was with Neto out, right? Yeah. So we'll give him 20. And I'm just going to throw 4 to anyone random. Doesn't matter there. My expectation is that Robin Lopez is the guy that gets the first shot at the most minutes. Whether or not that works out for him is a completely different story. But let's close out Washington. So let's take off Denny. And we'll take off Thomas Bryant and Troy Brown. Oh, man. Ish doesn't do good things. Ish Smith is terrible at basketball, Jeffrey. Absolutely dreadful. Shouldn't play a single second for a playoff team. Very, very bad. Now, I have no idea what his salary is today. He could very well be a value play. But in terms of actual basketball, Ish Smith sucks. Do I need to take anybody else off here? Probably not. All right, so Russ. Same usage. Bumped up assist rate. Bumped up rebounding rate. Bradley Beal. 33.5% usage. No surprises there. Slightly lower assist rate. Same rebounding rate. Gafford. I can't imagine this changes. There's no chance. Maybe it does go up. Give it a slight bump. Bertans. There's no way that moves. Neto. And Rui. Yeah, that all looks good to me. So for Washington, Arnush, I do think that Rudy Gobert should be top 5 in MVP, specifically third. Although you could talk me into second. Being the best defensive player and anchoring that defense, I mean, playing 71 of 72 games, there's a lot of value in that. Do I think that he's better than Joel Embiid? No, of course not. But if you play 500 plus minutes more than somebody, at some point in time, you got to be out on the floor to provide value. Russell Westbrook is 13K on FanDuel, 12-4 on DraftKings. I like him, but that's a big tag. Look, the raw point ceiling on a 2-gamer will matter a lot, and he's going to show up quite a bit. I actually like Russ a lot more on DK at 12-4. 13K on FanDuel is pretty difficult. Beal is 10K on FanDuel. That one's a tough sell. 9K on DraftKings, much better. After that, maybe Rui, and then, like someone in the Neto, Gafford, Len-ish type area will be a decent value, but hard to predict right now. So, guys, this is a little bit different than it normally is. 2 games up, 2 games down. We're on to crunches. So if you can, for the 125 people that are here, please hit that like button. We have made it to the end of the line already. Now let's actually take a look at this and see how everything shakes out on a 2-gamer. We haven't run crunches like this before. So, optimal lineup on FanDuel right now. Kemba Walker, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Miles Bridges, Rui Hachimura, Jason Tatum, Jalen McDaniels, Tristan Thompson. No, I don't agree that Donovan Mitchell is better than Rudy Gobert. Depends what that question is meant to be discussed for, but if you're asking me who I would have in the regular season, the answer is unquestionably Rudy Gobert, and I don't find it to be close. So 4 Celtics, 4 Hornets, and 1 Rui Hachimura. Or you can swap out Tatum for Sabonis. That's the pivot point in between the two. Now, let's take a look at power rankings because I think that'll tell a pretty interesting story. Gobert is a caveman with the ball in his hands. I don't even know what that means. I assume that means really good whenever they ask him to do anything offensively. Does his role exactly as necessary. All right, that was quick. Marcus Smart at the top of the heap on FanDuel. LaMelo Ball, Rui, Kemba, Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, Neto, Tatum, Brissett, Sabonis, McDaniels, Williams, Bertans, Thompson. Well, Anush, talking about the playoffs is a very different discussion. You led me into this with an MVP conversation, which is a regular season award. So, if we're talking about the playoffs, I think that Donovan Mitchell's skill set is a more valuable playoff asset, given what we've seen from Rudy Gobert in the past. But in the regular season, Rudy Gobert is significantly more valuable than Donovan Mitchell. Man, this is kind of crazy. It's pointing towards a balanced build. Like Russ is low, very low, which I think is pretty wild. But, you face Boston. That's middle of the pack pace team. It's playoff basketball is naturally slower. I'm surprised he's not showing up higher. And he may as we go on through the day, but you got to remember, and this is the key piece to it. Because we're switching to a more playoff tilted scenario, there's not as many pay down options. So like unlocking a 13K Russell Westbrook, we don't have this sea of 3K guys floating around that make it really easy to get to him. So going balanced it might be a little bit easier. So if we just look at point guard today, it's so much easier to fit in a LaMelo Ball or a Kemba Walker than to get to Russ. Like Russ is almost double the price of LaMelo Ball, but it's not like you're projecting Russ for 80 and LaMelo for 40. I'm really interested to see it. 13K is for a 2-game slate. 13K is so much. Because the key piece here is really the rest of the salary. It's what does, like, if you're able to get LaMelo and stuff at point guard, then if Domantas Sabonis or Jason Tatum go for, or Bradley Beal even, go for 60 fantasy points, then it's so much harder to pay the 13K for Russ. It's not that I don't like Russ. I'm a little surprised, but we're seeing what happens when the highest priced guy is $2,700 more expensive than the second priced guy, and the best value option is what, Tristan Thompson at 4,400. Like Marcus Smart is my best point per dollar play. He's 5,700. We only have one guy projected 5K or projected for 5x less than 5K, and that's Tristan Thompson. Interesting. Curiosity Seeker with the super chat. Appreciate that. Try and find the sixth man or just play the starters. You got to try to find the minutes. That's I think more important. But most of these guys are going to be guys that are playing a lot. The place you have to get lucky is the center spot. Is it Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, Cody Zeller, one of the Washington guys? Because the center spot, we don't have it today. Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, Zeller, Len, Lopez, Batadze, Gafford, the power forward. Like, somebody in this center group has to win, but in all actuality, they're all pretty the same. So that's kind of tricky. You can fit Russ, Melo, and Tatum in a build on FanDuel. That feels like a real crappy lineup. Russ, LaMelo, and Tatum. I mean, who's even in the rest of this lineup? It's got to just be truly terrible people. Okay, so this will be a very interesting exercise. Let's close that. If we lock those guys, Russ, LaMelo Ball, and Jason Tatum, and we remove all the randomness, that lineup scores 287. You're filling it out with Semi Ojeleye. The optimal lineup without those guys, Jeffrey, that's one of the worst takes I've ever seen you have, and you have pretty bad ones every single day. To say that Rudy Gobert is not athletic is just, that's some kind of awful. 318.3 is what the optimal is set for. To lock Russell Westbrook, LaMelo Ball, and Jason Tatum, you give up 31.3 points off the optimal. That lineup wouldn't even like make my cut. Yeah, you can't. That's why it's so tough to here. This might even be a better example. If we lock Russ, now obviously this assumes that my projections are spot on, but if we lock Russ, just locking Russ takes us 14 points off the optimal. That's a huge swing. Now, ownership and stuff obviously comes into play here. It feels like a situation where Russell Westbrook will be owned for the first time more than I think that he should in a while. Crazy how big of a drop off that causes just going to Russ. Let's check out DraftKings now, because I think Russ is going to show up a lot from a DK perspective. And that shouldn't be too surprising. Optimal lineup on DK. Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier, Miles Bridges, Davis Bertans, Cody Zeller, Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams. You can drop down a full point and switch. Who is it? You switch Bertans to Rui and Miles Bridges to Devontae Graham. Now, power rankings. Tweezy, I don't know. Ownership will be the deciding factor there. And if we get more value, like if Malcolm Brogdon ends up getting ruled out, we probably end up with a little bit more value coming from the Pacers. Makes it a little bit easier to get up to 13K for Russ. But as always, ownership is the key piece of it all. 145 viewers, 78 likes. So we're basically at 50-50. For those of you that haven't hit the thumbs up yet, if you can do that, I would love to still get this north of 100 likes, even in a playoff or play-in scenario. All right, DK, Smart, Walker, Fournier, Bertans, Robert Williams, Cody Zeller, Jalen McDaniels, Rui, Miles Bridges, Beal, Tatum, Graham, LaMelo, Neto. Very light on Russ still. I'm surprised. I might be light on Russ, but I don't think that I am. Although I probably am. I might end up. I'm going to have to dig into Russ a little bit more. Man, this two gamer is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy at all. Just this lack of pay down value is really apparent. Like Kemba is a great per dollar value. The 5 Boston guys are the best point per dollar plays so far. If you want to pay down, Cody Zeller at 4,700 is like the only option. Bertans at 42. You get to Daniel Gafford in the threes. There's just nobody. There's nobody cheap. And somebody cheap is going to get minutes that we don't expect, but it's so hard to figure out where that's going to come from. You don't know it until it happens. It's not predictable. I mean, I think Grant Williams gets like 10 minutes today. This is going to be a very difficult slate. Figuring out what pops correctly from Boston will be very important. But for right now, value is really, really hard to come by. And it could get worse. Like, if I give Tristan Thompson 4 more minutes, if we project Tristan Thompson for 30 and Robert Williams for 18, that's going to nerf Robert Williams quite a bit. And it's not going to make Tristan Thompson look all that appealing. He'll be good, but nothing crazy. Man, this is nuts. Is there anything else you guys want to see before we get out of here? This process shows a little different with 2 guys, or with 2 games. Yeah, Mark, I'm with you. I think the center position for the Wizards is just sort of random. You don't want to grab any one particular guy, or you only want to grab one and hope you're right. I don't think that we can know that until the game starts playing. don't think we have anything else that we could really look at. You know what we can do? Somebody will find this fun. I'm not doing FanDuel because I think the game mode sucks. But let's take a look at what this stuff will look like. Optimal lineup in the Pacers Hornets showdown. Sabonis captain, Sumner, Zeller, Bridges, Ball, LeVert. Who knows whether or not Sumner even plays. Power rankings for the showdown. Who's going to shoot on Boston besides Tatum? Kemba Walker? Is my guess. Ronald Jones, you can withdraw as much as you want from FanDuel. Am I on any other shows today? Yeah. Contenders videos will be out, and then strategy show with Laffy today at 10. Yeah, I don't expect Monk to get enough playing time. So Sabonis is the best play in captain mode showdown for DraftKings today. Bridges, Zeller, LeVert, Ball, Rozier, Graham, Holiday. They're all kind of packed together, but Sabonis at captain 23% of the time. LaMelo, LeVert, and Bridges are really the only main options for me. Ooh, 6 more likes for 100. We're going to get there. I like it. And since more people are going to be interested in Washington, Boston for this, let's check out optimal lineup for the Wizards Celtics showdown. JCW, I have no idea what that question is. With guys like Neal and LeBron, do you think they play more in game 1 to get the extra day off or not push them too hard? No, but Beal. No, you don't want to lose this game. You want to win. You only want to have to play one game. Nobody's taking it easy in the first one. Optimal lineup on DK for the Celtics Wizards showdown. Tatum captain, Gafford, Bertans, Beal, Smart, and Walker. 100 likes too. You guys are the best. Let's look at the power rankings for Wizards and Celtics. Brando is in. Kemba coming up at the top. Jason Tatum second. Then Beal, Gafford, Smart, Westbrook, Alex Len, Bertans. Playing the center lottery and showdown is going to be really difficult. Top captain options for the Wizards game. Tatum, Kemba, and Russ. Tatum, Kemba, Russ, and Beal are basically the only options. No, I'm not doing those FanDuel ones. FanDuel sucks. The most important MVP is whoever's projected for the most points. The most important, whatever the other position is, the second best guy. It's a terrible product. But I will have contenders videos for that sort of FanDuel stuff once we get to it. But no, I'm not running those crunches. It's not worth the time. It just shows the same stuff every time. Well, guys. Oh, Mark, appreciate that. Thank you. I think we're done here. We got 100 likes, 150 viewers. We've looked at optimals. We've looked at some showdown stuff. I think that's it. I think we done. I've got to record 2 contenders videos now for today, which should be fun to do. Strategy show with Laffy coming up at 10. And then Ben Raza and I will be recording our PGA contenders for the PGA Championship this week, which I hit another one this past week. Vegas finished tied for 9th. I had them T20, so that went well. So guys, check out that video. That's all I got, I think. I think we're done. That should do it. So thank you guys so much for being here. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight for being the presenting sponsor of this show. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. We'll have another process, another 2-gamer, and then we're going to take a brief break until the first day of the actual playoff starts. We've got good basketball coming up tonight, so make sure you're watching Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good Tuesday. I am out.